Hey YouTube, how's it going guys? Jared Fuller here. Thank you so much for watching this week. Today is Sunday, November 19th, 2K17. So happy to have you along and watching my video this week. There's a few things to go over. Not a whole lot, but a few things. So last week was a very busy week. I was in Lansing at Sparrow. My little buddy was supposed to have hernia surgery last Tuesday. Unfortunately, the surgeon had a family emergency and they had to postpone the surgery to a later date and time, which I think is this Tuesday. So I will be back in Lansing at Sparrow for my little buddy. It was, although the circumstances were not the greatest, that I would have to see him at the hospital, the idea was I was still there for him, and I told his mom, I will be there, you just give me a date and time, I will make sure that I am up early enough to get there, and hopefully the weather will be cooperative this coming Tuesday so I can make it back to Lansing, so I can make it back to Lansing, so I can be there for that again, for a second time, but who's counting? I don't care how many times. I want to try to be there as much as I can for the little guy. And then, of course, after I left Sparrow on Tuesday, I went straight over to Detroit. I went by the Detroit Zoo, and I stopped at this place where they wrap up toys for the sick kids in the hospitals. And I was really super excited about that because it was like a great big warehouse, and I mean they've just got shelves of toys to be wrapped, and like stuffed animals, which is right up my alley because stuffed animals, they always bring comfort and joy to the children when they're in the hospitals and fighting off diseases and such. Something about stuffed animals, it's like a security that the kids have. And of course, I had asked if they needed any volunteers, and they always have wrapping parties, and they said, yeah, we will get a hold of you if you're able to make it, because we don't want you to come all this way for nothing, and not be able to help out or volunteer. So, I volunteered to get involved in wrapping up some toys for the kids in the hospitals. Really nice people there. And then after that, I went to a fundraiser all the way over in Chesterfield, and that was, again, the circumstances I wish could have been better, but, I took it in stride, and I got to meet the family. I got to meet the little girl who the fundraiser was for. She has DIPG as well. Really nice family. I was help selling tickets. They had gift baskets that they were giving away. They pull the tickets out, they read the names and everything. I won a gift, but it was Barbie dolls. And it's like, well, I don't have a dream house at home. But what I did is I approached the little girl's mother, which, by the way, very nice people. Her parents are extremely nice, wonderful, warm people. And I said, well, does your daughter like Barbies? And she says, oh yeah, she loves Barbies. She will go to town on Barbies. And okay. I said, I got something for her. So I took the gift basket that I won. I said, here, this is for your little girl. And she says, oh my God, that is so sweet. You didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do it. I wanted to do it. And, they were really grateful for that, and the fact that I drove all the way out there just to help out and to sell tickets and to get to know the family. I made a lot of new friends out there. I had given them my contact information and told them anytime you would like to get in touch with me, you have my cell phone number, you have my email address, you have my mailing address. Let's stay in touch. Let's do this thing. Let's keep in touch. So I was really happy just to be there. Although the circumstances, like I said, were not the greatest, and I certainly wish that I could have met this family at a different... I met them at a bar, But it was a fundraiser for this little girl who has DIPG, and I feel really bad that any child would have to go through this. As a matter of fact, I kind of got into a discussion about this with some friends of mine, and they asked me how I got involved in the childhood cancer community, raising awareness, but they're already aware that I am a childhood cancer survivor. And what happened this happened early on in my childhood. I just emailed my dad, and I think he put the status update on Facebook before he left because he went hunting. And I'll explain this briefly. It happened early on in my childhood when I was going to East Lansing at the MSU clinic for my checkups. And my mom and dad were talking to the receptionist, filling out paperwork, signing papers or whatever. They were getting referrals for me to go to the main Sparrow Hospital, the St. Lawrence branch office on Saginaw Street, or I would just have the test done right there at MSU. But, I'm just a short guy, and I'm standing there with my Jared Bear in my arms, and I'm just looking around, and there's a whole lobby full of kids. They lost their hair. They've got IV poles. They've got wires and tubes and the whole 9 yards. And that triggered something. Even, when I was that little, it triggered my empathy and my sadness that I have for those other kids and those other babies. And at that time, we had a Cavalier station wagon, a 1987 Cavalier station wagon. And I would be covered up in blankets in the back seat. We'd be coming home from East Lansing, and I would be crying under the blankets. Mom could hear my sniffles. And she would say to me, "Jared, what's wrong? Why are you crying? What's wrong, son? Why are you so sad?" I said, those other babies and the little kids, they have cancer too. And she says, "Yeah." "And that makes you sad?" "Yeah." And so that's when that's when that came to be. It was my empathy that I had for the other kids, and even now I'm in my 30s. I still have that wave come over me because it's not something you just get used to. And I know that any outside observer would say, well, you should be used to seeing images like that, or you should be used to seeing other kids like that. You never get used to it. You just never get used to it. It is not something that, you just don't passively accept it as easily as you would anything else. For me, it's always been, if I hurt, no big deal. I'll deal with that on my own. If it's some other little kid or baby that's hurting, or they have cancer or what have you, no. Come and see me, cancer. You had me once, and I kicked your butt, and I'll do it again. I don't care if you mess with me, just as long as you're leaving those other kids and babies alone. And that will always be my my position on that, as far as that goes. But it's been a very busy week. A family that I had helped with a fundraiser, they went to Mexico. The warrior who has DIPG, he went to Mexico on Tuesday, and I think they're back home now, because I had a chance to talk with the parents after the comedy show they had in Chesaning to help raise funds for the little boy. I had the opportunity to talk with the parents after the show, and they said, well, we should be back by Friday. And I said, okay, sounds great. Maybe we could plan for me to come over and we can have a discussion. Tell me about Mexico, because I think they go to Monterrey, Mexico to receive treatment. But, and because the word cancer, he doesn't like to hear the word cancer because it scares him, and it should. Nobody likes the word, If it was a pleasant word, they would give it a more pleasant name or a more pleasant label. But there's nothing good about cancer, whether you're a grown-up or a child. But I always say, if cancer's going to mess with somebody, mess with me. Come and see me again. I don't care. I would go through what I had gone through 1,000,000 times over, 1,000,000,000,000 times over, if it meant that no other child had to. I would be more than happy to take their place in a heartbeat. No questions asked. And I'm trying not to get emotional, but, when you talk about things like this, it's never easy to not get emotional. So, and I try to remain on the up and up, and I try to remain positive through all of it. And, I just try to walk into it with a positive attitude, and, I'm here for the kids. I'm here to help in any way I can. And I had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time out there in Chesterfield, although, again, like I said, I wish the circumstances could have been different. But the family, they are just the nicest, most wonderful, most beautiful family you would ever meet. And I also wanted to thank the gal who was willing to share her cod dinner with me, because we were both selling tickets, and we sat at this round table, and she ordered a cod dinner with French fries, and she says, I couldn't possibly eat all that. She says, I got that for you. And it's like, my God, you didn't have to do that, Let me pay for that, or let me do something. She says, no. She says, I got this. And the waitress, because I was going to dig in my wallet and get money out, she says, no, don't worry about that. We got this. It's on the house. I was really I was humbled, and I was flattered that, and I don't, I can't put into words. I can't really describe how grateful that I am. And I'm, I didn't do this for the free meal or the free ride. That's not why I do it. It all boils down to just the personal aspects of childhood cancer. My battle and what I see with everybody else. I mean, my dad tells me things, or when he gets on Facebook, he relays things over to me. Or he'll say, come here and check this out, and I'll look over his shoulder, and it's like, wow, this, I would like to get involved. And Dad says to me, well, would you like me to contact them? Sure, please do, yes. I want to meet them. I want to help out with their fundraiser. I want to volunteer my time. So that's how that boils down. And then they say, well, okay, yeah, anybody's welcome to come. And, we would love to meet Jared. And that's how that pans out. I'm also looking into possibly volunteering my time at Sparrow, if I'm able to. I would have to check with the volunteering services at Sparrow, just to see what they would say about that. Because as any warrior, or as any family of parents of a warrior would say, any hospital that is dedicated to saving the lives of children, you are in debt to them forever, for a lifetime. And I am in debt to Sparrow for a lifetime. That will always be my thing. And voice got a little scratchy there. And the morning that I did go to Sparrow to see my little buddy, I enjoyed breakfast with him and his mom. I paid for the breakfast. Little guy had a couple of donuts, and I had biscuits and sausage biscuits and gravy, and potatoes O'Brien, I think is what it's called, and that's what the mom had. And we were all sitting at this little round table, and I couldn't help but laugh. But the little boy had mentioned something. He said the word fart really loud, and I think everybody heard it. And his mom says, honey, you can't say that word in an area where people are trying to eat. You can't say that word. And I'm just I said, I'm sorry, Mom, and I just put my head down and started laughing, and then she started laughing, and then little guy started laughing. So it was it was just a wonderful time, getting to spend time with people that I really and truly love and care about. And I know she's probably watching this, so I wanted to say thank you again for the duffel bag of goodies. And the duffel bag has the sparrow emblem on the front of it. Thank you again so much. I wasn't expecting it. I would have done that. I would have been there for anybody else that I was close with. So thank you again. And it was a pleasure having breakfast with you and little man. So. But other than that, guys, I'm still in the middle of writing a poem called Toy Drive. I don't know if I mentioned this in last week's video because it was kind of a last-minute thing. As a matter of fact, I can pull up the date. This is my poem pad is what I call it. I've got a whole bunch of poems written. I've been adding bits and pieces to this poem I'm about to complete called Toy Drive. I started this last week on Monday the 6th, and I'm still not done. I am a slowpoke at getting anything done, but I will get it done, and I will get the poem video uploaded to my channel as soon as possible, as soon as I get that done. November 16th, of course, if you had saw the video on my channel here, I celebrated 18 years of journal writing, and TSOAL stands for the story of a lifetime. And, there's really not much to see. I just have, like the book gathering, and I just kind of sit and just, I embrace all of the years, all of the writing, all of the work I've done through the years with this hobby that I call the story of a lifetime, because I had written about so many different things through the years, and I've done so much in the past 18 years. And I kind of made a joke to my dad. I said, well, if the story of a lifetime were my child, they would be old enough to gamble. They would be old enough to buy cigarettes, because I don't have kids, of course, so that was kind of the in-joke. But yeah, I've been writing for 18 years, journals, because without the journals, there would be no story of a lifetime, because it started off as, I actually was writing poetry, or like little rhymes and riddles, early on in childhood, since about, I'd say, 1995. But the older I got, the more craftier I would get, and then I would hone this knack and this hobby and this gift of writing poems, and I've only gotten better, I would say, through the years. And maybe I am being biased in that regard, but I think because I'm older and I'm able to use words and expressions, and I'm able to tell a story, even if it's not true, the story isn't true, I can still build up a story. And I think the idea behind writing poems, story poems, is the fact that there's a bit of philosophy that goes into it, like this poem I'm doing called Toy Drive. Now, when you take the word or the phrase toy drive, you think, okay, donations for toys. It's a play on words. Toy drive really isn't what the poem isn't what you think it means. It's just a play on words. Once you get to read the poem, when I upload the poem video, you will see what I mean by a play on words because of the title Toy Drive. I think I'm doing fairly okay at the poem. Like I said, I still have some more that I have to add to it, but I will definitely get underway with that probably as soon as I wrap up this Sunday video update here. Video update. I almost said shout out. I'm not shouting out to anybody. It's just a video update. But I've been doing okay. It's been a long week. I've been kind of, at 1 minute I'm happy, then I'm kind of down and out, and I've been disheartened by some things lately that I really don't want to get into discussion about. But other than that, I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there as best as I can. And, there's always a reason to do the right thing. Always. And I wanted to talk about this because, see, the thing is there's a backstory to everything that I do, whether it be raise awareness to childhood cancer, whether it be writing poetry, anything. There's always a backstory. There's always a reason why I do what I do. And for me, with childhood cancer, it is specifically and primarily because of what I had experienced, what I had gone through in early childhood. And there's voice is scratchy, high pitch. There's a reason, like when I say, if you've never been through this, you really have no idea what you're talking about. It's not in any way to discredit or to disengage the advocates who have been indirectly affected, although, there are certain people who should be. But to be honest with you, I have friends who have been indirectly affected by childhood cancer, but they are advocates, and they are honest and truthful, and they are transparent about saying, hey, my child has never been through this, but I still want to help. I feel intrigued or compelled to be a voice for these kids. And I have a great deal of respect for them. There's one that I talk to practically every day through text message, at least every day. But the misconception was that, supposedly, as how people took it as well, Jared said that you can't be an advocate unless you've gone through that, which is clearly not true. What I said was, anybody can advocate for anything, but until such time that you've personally actually been through that yourself or with your children, that's where the line is drawn. And that's where, okay, you can advocate for what goes on behind the camera or behind the curtain, but there are those of us, like myself, we were the people behind the curtain that you are in fact advocating for. I was that child behind the curtain. So there is that division, although I do appreciate what my friends do, and it's not to discredit anybody who is indirectly affected by childhood cancer. But they understand the boundary. I mean, to go ahead and say that you know what it's like when you don't is just dishonest. But what I will say to that degree as well is, if you honestly come out and say, hey, I've never had a child go through this, but I still want to be a voice and I still want to advocate for funding and research, I don't have a problem with that at all. But as is the case, some people, they bite off more than they can chew, and true colors always come out. But I'm not going to get into that. What I'm saying is that, again, those of us who are directly affected by it, we actually, we have the education, we have the experience, we have the stories. And I talked to this person from Texas, from Arlington, Texas. She is an advocate for DIPG. I just love and adore this person to pieces. She's an amazing friend. She's a sweetheart. I love her to death. And we talk through text messages at least once a day, or every day we communicate. I mean, our communication is pretty strong, and it's imminent. And I respect her and everything she does, and she understands the boundaries, and we've had those discussions as well. And I am not going to discredit her. I encourage her every time. And when I was at this event on Tuesday, I had said to her, I said, you know what? You live so far away from me. I said, but because you're in my heart, you're a part of me. I said, you are here with me in spirit. And I wish I had the money where I could afford a plane ticket to fly her up here to Michigan, and so she could attend some of these fundraisers with me and acquaint herself with the families. Because I know for a fact she would fall in love with them just as much as I have, and I've become so emotionally attached to those people. And, I would take her with me at each and every fundraiser event, and we would be making a difference for these kids. Because her passion is very deep, as is mine, and but the difference is I've been through it and she hasn't, and I thank God for that. I wouldn't wish this on anybody, and I certainly have never one time said that you have to go through this before you can advocate for it. I never said that. It's just people who I think at some point you would have to agree, or you would have to at least say or acknowledge for the most part that there's people who purposely take things out of context as a guise under retaliation because they have some kind of agenda against me anyway. So therefore, let's spin this into something that's not to get back at them. Well, there's people who know who I am and they know what I'm about anyway, so your plan of achieving this or accomplishing this has failed miserably. And then it becomes comical. But anyhow, I'm just sitting here today and I'm drinking coffee. I should be drinking my coffee out of my Spartans cup. East Lansing, they've been doing pretty good lately. As a matter of fact, we were watching the football game yesterday. It was Maryland at East Lansing, and it was snowing like crazy yesterday. East Lansing won against Maryland 17-7 for my football friends, the sports aficionado friends that I have. And it did. It snowed like crazy, and Spartans won. So, to that degree, I say, go green. But anyway, guys, I think that's about it. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about this week. That last week was very busy, but it was a week that I'll never forget, and I made memories. And I'm looking forward to meeting up with those families again very, very soon, hopefully, or just to communicate with them, just to talk to them, and kind of get to know them a little better. Or actually, I know them quite fairly well, but to just get to help them and, get the word out that this is what's going on, and it's open to the public, and please come out, that kind of thing. But I will get in touch with that family who just got back from Monterey on Friday, and, just to see how everything's going and see how everybody's doing, and, stay in touch like that. But anywho, guys, I guess that's really all I wanted to talk about. It's more like an abbreviated version of a Sunday video update. Really not a lot to talk about. Now, I've pretty much gotten everything out there. I was in Lansing on Tuesday, and then I was in Detroit on Tuesday. I had driven right past the Detroit Zoo. I went down 696. If you're familiar with Michigan, Interstate 96 goes out of Lansing, and you go, you're heading east about 70 miles. You go through Brighton and Howell, around there, Fowlerville. And then when you come up to, I think it's either Novi or Wixom, you come up to 696 and 275. Well, you would have to keep going east on 696. You'd go through Royal Oak, which that's where the Detroit Zoo is located, Royal Oak, Oak Park, Lathrop Village, Southfield, Warren, Centerline, just a whole bunch of different suburbs. And it's quite the stretch. It's quite the stretch. But, it was quite the drive, and I love driving. I love getting out and seeing different things, and now I know where the Detroit Zoo is. It's in Royal Oak, and it's just off 696. And the route that I took was 96 to 696 to 94 to 21 mile. But I was all the way over here. The thing about being a Michigander is you've always got a map. And I was way over here by Lake St. Clair. So, and I went through Roseville and snuck up by Mount Clemens. And I've never been to Mount Clemens before, but like I said, it was quite the drive. I had fun spending time with the family. I made a lot of friends. That round table that we were sitting at, there was a mother who bought some tickets, and she had her son and her daughter, and she's got brain cancer. And the little boy was sitting next to me. His name was Drew, and he's got red hair. And I said, you know what, man? I said, people have to pay to get their hair our color. And he's just kind of sitting there and kind of grinning like he was playing Shy Guy, And I said, you know what? We are a special breed, man. And I'm doing this number here, like, we got to stick together, brother. And he thought it was funny, and the mother laughed, and I said, you know what? I said, we got on the subject of McDonald's French fries. I said, you know what? I said, McDonald's French fries are the best. I said, that's the Irish coming out in us. And he kind of shied up on me, and I said, you don't say much, do you? And he just, he was smiling. I said, don't you dare break a smile. And it was a great time, and his mom just burst out laughing. And there was another little boy there. His name was Zachary. He had light-up shoes, the shoes that flicker whenever you stomp your feet. When you walk, the lights flicker. I said, man, I got to get a pair of shoes just like yours. And then he shook my hand, and he was shaking my hand like that. And I was just kind of making me dizzy, and he burst out laughing. I had a great time, though. It was just a lot of fun, and I was happy to have been there, and I'm sure that those people will be seeing me again at another event. And I got a bracelet, the newest bracelet, and I don't know how I could have ever forgotten to show you guys. But this is the newest bracelet. I'm going to work it to the end of my wrist here, and it's right there. It's Team Olivia. This one right here. That is the newest bracelet, and as you can see, I still don all these bracelets, and I've got the Miracle Maker bracelet that I didn't wear, but I should start wearing it because Children's Miracle Network Hospitals is an organization that I support, and I've donated to the local children's hospital in Flint, which would be Hurley. And I've done a lot for them. I answered the phones in the booth for the Radiothon event, and I'm friends with lots of families from Hurley. So, and I'm friends with the staff members as well. So they all know me quite well, and I love them. They're good people. They're good people, and I want to have that connection with Sparrow too. I want to get to know people. I want to have that connection, and I want to, because I know a couple of the pediatric oncologists. Of course, I would know them because they were my pediatric oncologists, and they still work in Lansing after all these years. And so that's why I really and truly want to get involved, like with volunteering my time there. I don't care if it's setting up tables and chairs for events that they have, or if it's reading stories to the kids in the NICU or whatever. I want to volunteer my time. I want to give back. I want to help in any way that I can. And I owe a lifetime of debt to Sparrow, and there's just no other way of putting it. There's no two ways about it. I am in debt to Sparrow, always, forever will be. and I will do anything I can to help. I wonder if Sparrow has bracelets like these. I'm going to have to look into that too. The next time I go to Sparrow, I'm going to have to check out their gift shop and see what they have to say about that. Do you guys have bracelets for, green bracelets for Sparrow, for the Sparrow Hospital? I will represent you forever. I will never take it off. Of course, except when I take baths, I don't want to ruin it. But anyway, now I'm just rambling. But I certainly want to volunteer my time at Sparrow as much as I've volunteered my time at Hurley, and we'll go from there. And I will certainly and definitely let you guys know how that goes. But it's I think it's after 4 o'clock. Let me check the time here. Yes, it's going on 5 o'clock. It's 4:55. So, on that note, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching again this week, you guys. I have to go uptown and do some grocery shopping. And I will be in Lansing on Tuesday. Matter of fact, I'm going to get in touch with the boys' mom as soon as I hit the stop button on this video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this week. And I will see you next week. Same place, same time. Or should I say, same bat time, same bat channel. You might get the thing there. But anyway, I'm out. And I'll see you guys later. Mwah. Much love and peace out. Take care, guys.